very often we'll make mistakes with. But once you know the rule, you'll never make another mistake. So here's the rule. We use yet. We use yet when we need to make a negative statement or we're asking a question, okay? We use it yet with negative sentences and with questions. Yet, the word yet explains that something has not yet happened, but we expect it to, okay? For example, David has not arrived yet. Notice that it's a negative statement. He has not arrived yet. So we use it with a negative statement, and we use it when something has not happened, but we expect it to in the future. Okay? He's not arrived yet means that eventually he will. Okay? If we put this into a question form, have you had lunch yet? Okay. Well, this tells us that we, haven't, but we would expect the person has not, but will in the future. Okay? Now.
So can I ask?
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to put just at the end of the sentence, right?
Almost always. Almost always. There could be an exception.
If I say David has not yet arrived, is it correct?
If I said David hasn't yet arrived, that would be correct, but that's not the way people usually speak. Okay? It would not be incorrect to do so, but the more common way, the more normal way would be to put it at the end. Okay? But it would still be correct. But this would be the way we would usually say it. Now, good question though. We use already, we use yet with negative statements. We use already with positive statements and with questions. Okay, already explains to us that something has happened.
Happened already.
It has happened. So yet says that something hasn't happened, but it is expected to in the future. Already explains that something has happened. So we would say, we have already had lunch. We could also say, we had lunch already. That would be just as correct. That would be just as correct. In a question form, have you already been to the Grand Palace? See, we're using already to ask a question, and we're using it to make a positive statement. We could also say, it would be just as correct, to say, have you been to the Grand Palace already? That would be just as correct. Okay?
Teacher, when say, we have had lunch. We have had lunch. No, already is in the different meaning. We have already had lunch.
No, be the same meaning. We could say we had lunch already. We have already had lunch.
No, already is the same meaning.
If we took already out, if we took already out, we have had lunch. Well, it would mean there would be a slight difference. There would be a slight difference. If we said we have had lunch, that would mean that I've already eaten. But you don't know whether I had lunch yesterday you don't know whether I had lunch the day before yesterday or whether I had lunch last week. When I say I've already had lunch, that would be in response to a question. You know, if someone, like this afternoon after class, one of my other friends is going to lunch, and they would want to know whether I wanted to join them for lunch. I could say, no thank you, I've already had lunch.
Yes.
Meaning that I just ate. But if I said I had lunch, then maybe I had lunch yesterday, maybe I had lunch last week. It gives you the difference is slight, but it tells you a recency of when I've had lunch. Yeah, but the mistake that even some English speakers make is that they use already when they should use yet. They use yet when they should use already. And all we need to remember is we use yet when we're making negative statements, and we use already when we're making positive statements. Here's what someone would say that is wrong, that is a mistake. I have not already had lunch. See, and you'll hear that sometimes. And someone who is not a native English speaker might say that. But what we would say if we haven't had lunch yet is that I haven't had lunch yet, or I have not yet had lunch. So we use yet when we want to make a negative statement. We use already when we want to make a positive statement. Okay? Got the rule? All right, want to try it? Yeah, want to try practice? Let's see, 87. Let's see what we can do with this real quickly. I'll do the first one. He hasn't called us already. See, I was wrong. Did anybody catch that mistake I made? Yeah. See, it was a negative statement. It was a negative statement. So what should I say? Already or yet? Yet. 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 The difference is slight, but it's important. So he hasn't called us yet. That means that he hasn't called us, but I expect him to call us. So let's see. Let's start. Ma, why don't we start with you at number 2?
They have already mailed the check.
That's correct. It's a positive statement. It's an affirmative statement, so we're going to use already. Okay, so let's see. Number 3.
He's been planned for us to leave already. No, not yet.
Correct, both times. Yeah, both times. We're on a roll. You know, that's an idiom. We're on a roll. On a roll means we're getting them all correct. We're doing perfectly. So number 4, Chop.
John has already bought the tickets for the game.
Correct. Number 5.
They have already signed the contract.
Correct. Number 6.
We have already been to Mexico 3 times.
That's correct. It's a positive statement. It's an affirmative statement, so we're going to say already. Number 7, Pew. Excuse me a second. I had a question. Just a second. Your question, Nat?
Why don't you take position after 3 times? Mean to make
After which one?
Number 6. Why don't you take position after 3 times?
we have already been to Mexico 3 times.
Unnecessary to use preposition.
Yeah. Why didn't I put a 4 in there? Well, you could, and it would not be incorrect, but it's not necessary because 3 times, in this case, 3 times is a phrase that modifies or describes the verb have. So it's not necessary. The meaning is the same. Let's see, we're at number 7, Pew.
But you have visited Tesco.
But you haven't visited Tosco yet. That's correct. Because it's a negative statement. It's a negative statement, so we're going to say yet. And so then your turn for number 8.
Has John gotten his new car yet?
That's correct. Uh-huh.
When I
Uh-huh.
had the class, began yet. No.
already not
But yeah.
Began already, so not yet.
Began
Already, no, not yet.
Correct.
Not yet.
That's correct. Yeah. He had, suraphet had a difficult one. It was a difficult one. But it's correct because